The tape was not labeled, no date, no name, just a thin layer of dust and a warning written directly on the plastic case. If you're watching this, it's already too late. At first they thought it was a joke, a prank left behind by the previous owner. But by the time the tape ended, they understood why it had been hidden inside the wall, and why no one was supposed to find it. The house stood at the end of a narrow street, pressed between newer buildings that looked almost offended by its presence. It had been empty for years. No foreclosure sign, no record of tenants, just abandoned. When Mark and Elena bought it, the realtor avoided questions. She spoke quickly, smiled too much, and repeated the same phrase every time they asked about the previous owners. "I'm sure it's nothing important." The price was low enough to silence their doubts. Renovations began immediately. Old houses always hide things. Broken pipes, rotten beams, forgotten belongings. But on the third day, while tearing down a section of the living room wall, Mark's hammer hit something solid. Not wood, not brick, plastic. Behind the drywall was a narrow cavity. Inside it, a single VHS tape. No player, no box of others, just one. The handwriting on the tape case was shaky, uneven, as if written in a hurry. "Do not watch alone." Elena laughed. Mark didn't. They found an old VCR at a thrift store that same afternoon. It worked. When the screen flickered to life, the image was grainy and dark. The timestamp in the corner read 2:14 m. A man sat facing the camera. Mid-30s, unshaven, eyes red, unfocused. He stared silently for nearly a full minute. Then he spoke. "My name doesn't matter," the man said. "If you're watching this, you already know where this house is. That's enough." He swallowed hard. "I made a mistake. I thought I could document it, control it, prove it was real." Behind him, the room looked identical to Mark and Elena's living room. Same window, same corner crack in the ceiling. "But it doesn't like being watched," the man continued. "It notices when you notice it." A faint sound echoed in the background, a slow, rhythmic tapping. The man flinched. "If you hear it..." He stopped himself. "No, when you hear it, don't look for the source." The tape glitched. Static filled the screen. When the image returned, the man was closer to the camera. Much closer. That night, Mark woke up at 2:14 a.m. He didn't know why. The house was silent. Too silent. No cars outside. No wind. Then he heard it. Tap. Not loud. Not urgent. Just patient. He froze. From the other side of the bedroom wall. Tap. Tap. Elena slept beside him, breathing steadily. Mark remembered the tape. "Don't look for the source." The tapping stopped. At breakfast, Elena mentioned she'd had a strange dream. She said someone had been standing in the hallway, watching them sleep. Mark didn't tell her what he'd heard. Against better judgment, they watched the tape again. This time, they noticed details they'd missed before. The man's eyes never blinked, not once. And behind him, in the darkest corner of the room, something shifted. Not a shape, not a shadow. More like a place where the image refused to settle. The man continued speaking. "It lives in the walls, not inside them, between them." The tapping returned on the tape, louder now. The man turned his head slowly toward the sound. "No," he whispered, "not yet." The camera shook violently. Then the tape cut to black. The tapping started happening every night, always at 2:14 a.m., always from a different wall. Mark tried to rationalize it. Pipes, old framing, temperature shifts. But pipes don't move, and they don't respond. One night, frustrated and exhausted, Mark knocked back. Tap, tap. The reply came instantly, perfectly timed, perfectly matched. Elena screamed. The next morning, they found the VCR turned on. No one remembered touching it. The tape was inside, rewound, but something had changed. The final minutes now showed new footage. Mark and Elena's living room, from an angle near the ceiling, watching. They stood below, arguing, panicking, unaware. A voice whispered from behind the camera. Soft, familiar, Mark's voice. "We tried to warn you," it said. But now it knows you can hear it. The image zoomed slowly toward the wall behind them, the place where the tape had been hidden. The tapping grew deafening. At exactly 2:14 a.m. that night, the tapping stopped forever. Neighbors reported a loud crack, like wood splitting. When police entered the house days later, they found no signs of struggle. No bodies, no furniture, just bare walls, except for one thing. Inside the living room wall, sealed behind fresh drywall, they found a VHS tape. No label, no date, only a message scratched into the plastic. "Do not watch alone." And somewhere deep inside the walls of that house, something was listening. Some stories don't end when the video does. If this one stayed with you, leave your thoughts below. And if you're ready for more stories like this, you know where to find them.